Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I thought I would talk about some Flora and Faeries. We are thick into spring, and I felt like looking at some fairy decks on top of looking at some botanicals, and I thought this would be a great way to do this. I'm going to bring forward the ones that I kind of want to work with during this time. I do have decks that are more autumn-based feeling as opposed to spring-based energy, but I do have some decks that have some really good spring fairy energy and some beautiful spring going into summer botanicals, right? So I figured that's what we would do and take a look at all of these different decks that I have that encompass the seasonal energy. I think the first deck we're going to take a look at is the Faeries Tarot. This is the indie edition. This deck encompasses all the seasons, I feel, but I do know there's some people that feel really drawn to it during the spring season, and there's people who are drawn to it during the fall. For me, it comes out both times of year. I use it spring and during the fall. Sometimes even in the summer it comes out. But I don't know. It's very this I'm gonna say is probably one of my favorite fairy decks. I'm not a huge fae person. I do have a couple. But yeah, like see like all the spring flowers. We've got daffodils. The other picture had tulips. We've got all these like cherry blossoms starting. So it does have some really good, spring energy. But then here we've got like, this is kind of winter looking, right? So that's what I mean. I feel like it's just great for all seasons, to tell you the truth, which is great. I love when a deck kind of just fits in everywhere, because then when you're being called to it and you want to work with it, no matter what time of the year it is, it's got images that match that feeling of whatever season you're in, right? Yeah. I don't know. This, like I said, is one of my favorite Fae decks. Honestly, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy its messages. It's served it to me a couple times. Like, it's nice, but it's not so nice that it's sweet, right? It's given it to me a couple times, and it kind of knocked me back a couple times, and I was like, whoa, like, okay, thanks. I do like MJ's decks. Like, look how beautiful that purple is. Just stunning. Ladybugs. Yeah, there's a lot of spring energy, like a lot of spring winter energy, to tell you the truth. Maybe some fall, but like a lot of, we're either kind of more bleaker, wintry looking images or bright, colorful spring, summer energy. I don't know. It's an awesome deck though, and I really enjoy it. I love this card. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck. So beautiful. Yeah, and there's mermaids in it. I mean, who can complain about that? Everybody loves mermaids. Fairies and mermaids. Yeah, I love this one. This is one of my favorite fairy decks. So that's the Faeries, and definitely one I think I'm going to be pulling out and working with ASAP. So another deck that gives me some really strong fairy spring vibes, and it's not necessarily that they're fairies. Like, I don't think that this is even classified as a fairy deck, but it does to me have a fairy energy to it, and that is the Ramage Estrange. It's such a big chunky deck. But yeah, this gives me that very much kind of like that Fae spring energy, right? It's just beautiful. And I do like working with this in the spring. It's very much to me like rainy spring days, and that when that burst of growth happens and that bright, vibrant new growth comes out on all of the trees and bushes. And I just feel like this is this time of year 100%. And like I said, this isn't necessarily considered a Fae deck, but I feel like it's closer to a Fae deck than anything else. It's just, this is such a beautiful deck. I do love it. And I feel it's like the aura and like the energy and strength of the new growth that's happening right now, right? The card stock could have been a little bit better, but it's not that bad. There's far worse. This is so beautiful too. Like the images are just so gorgeous. And I feel like it's, I don't know, like look at this. Like that to me has fairy energy. Like very much Fae energy. Once again, this too. Like very Fae. So to me, I consider it a Fae deck. And like it's got foxglove, which is like such a fairy flower, right? And I feel like if I can get these two first. I don't know, to me it feels like a fairy. Feels like a Fae deck. And I mean, you can even put it into like a botanical in a way too, right? Because it's a lot of these bare trees and then these like new growth happening. So, I mean, you could kind of put it into a botanical as well at the end of the day, if you really wanted to. You know what? Honestly, maybe it's like a little bit of both, right? It's a little bit of a Fae energy on top of a little bit of a botanical deck feel, right? So I don't know. This is a great one. And this is one I definitely love to pull out and work with during this time of year. And in my collection, I consider it a Fae-based deck. So another tarot deck that's kind of along the same wavelength as that one, where it is not considered a Fae deck, but to me it gives a lot of Fae energy, and that's the Azilich Tarot. This one to me definitely has like that spring watery Fae feel. It really honestly does, but I don't think any of these characters have wings or anything like that. Oh, nope, that's a butterfly. I was like, oh, that one has wings, but it doesn't. But it has a very Fae feel to me, a very, I don't know. I really do. I feel like it's got a Fae energy to it. And this is one too that can kind of be maybe even looked at as a botanical as well in a way, because there is a lot of flowers and branches and all that stuff, right? A lot of like really beautiful landscapes and butterflies. But to me, like when you look at these pictures and you look at the size of the butterflies compared to the individuals, like that's why I feel it feels Fae to me, because the proportions are like that. Like look at this one on the fish. If I can get to zoom in, like he's riding a fish. And like that's a little person, right? So I feel like it has a Fae energy to me, like big time. And then you have images like this where obviously it's more proportionate. The person that's up in the corner walking with those birds, like that's more of a normal person size. And like things like this where they have like kind of like ram horns, right? Which is totally a nod to Aries energy. Like the Emperor energy, right? And the Empress. Cool. I don't know. Gives me fairy feeling. Gives me fae feels. 100%. And like even like this, like she's high up in a tree, right? It just, yeah, it 100% gives me fae feeling. This is a great deck. I love this deck. This deck can be a little mean to me though sometimes. I haven't read with it a whole heck of a lot, but the times that I have, I feel like it's been kind of like not mean, but very straightforward and very to the point. But such beautiful colors and vibrancies, and I don't know, watercolors are gorgeous. Such vibrant colors and just really beautiful shapes and structures. Yeah, this deck totally gives me fairy vibes as well too. I don't think it's not considered a fae deck, but it has the fae feel, at least in my collection. I don't know, maybe it says in here, maybe it is. Never really even looked at it. A very generic book. But yeah, I don't know. It has fae feelings to me that I like to use during this time of year. And this is going back. This is Nature's Whispers by Josephine Wall and Angela Hartfield. This, I believe, thinking this is the first oracle that I ever bought. It was either this or the tree one. Ugh, I forget what it's called. The Celtic trees, ancestral trees, Celtic trees. I can't remember. It's still out. It's still being printed. It's still in use. But this is very much a fae deck, and it's so beautiful. And once again, this kind of it embraces all the seasons, but I kind of feel like more drawn to it in the spring, to tell you the truth. But this is one that you can go any time of year too. And like, I don't know, it reminds me of the 90s. I think that's, let me see, when was this done? Is it a 90s deck? 2015, so it's not a 90s deck. It's not as old as I thought it was. It just feels a lot older, I guess, but I love this deck very much. It's not a heavy user in my collection. I've got to be in the right energy and the right feels to pull it out. But I really like the key phrases that are at the bottom. And there's just so much to look at in these cards. There's always so much stuff. Like, look how beautiful that is. So much detail to her artwork. And there's a couple of my favorites in here. I mean, they're all gorgeous. Like, look at this one with all the animals. Yeah, beautiful. I think this one is still available. I'm pretty sure it is. It's nice cardstock too. And I remember when I got it, I was like, whoa, these cards are humongous. And because I had only worked with tarot at that point. And when I got it, I was like, holy cow. Like I didn't know how to shuffle it. And I kept dropping them everywhere. And I was like, this is insane. And I put it away for a while. And I didn't go to it that often. But this is one of those decks where, like, I have very specific clients that come in. This is one of my favorite cards. I have very specific clients that come in that this deck is like, it wants to be worked with. It wants to come forward for them. So when it comes out and when it's asking to come out, there's a reason. And I'm like, yep, no problems. And I get it out. And I very much enjoy what it has to say. When it has to say it. It's not a talkative deck. It's not, you know, it's very soft. It's very gentle. But it is beautiful. And like I said, I really, really like the keywords. Look how beautiful this one is with the winter, the spring, the summer, and fall. Yeah, gorgeous. But yeah, so this is one that I definitely tend to pull out during this time of the year. And like I said, unless it's like wants to come out very specific for a client, because this is one of the ones that are like me. And it always is for this one particular person who comes to see me, this one lady. Whenever she comes, it's always this deck that wants to come out. And I think it just like, it's the colors. It speaks to her soul. Like it loves her and she loves it. Another deck that I do like to pull out and work with from time to time, from spring into summer, like this to me has like a pretty summer feel as well, is the Tarot of the She. This deck, though, I don't know. This deck, sometimes I've got to be in the right place to deal with it. It can be a little intense, honestly. But I feel it's a good spring, summer fairy feel. But like I said, it's pretty intense. I do like, though, like when I do my readings with it, I do like what it has to say. But it's another one of those decks where it's like it can be pretty in your face. And sometimes just a little like overwhelming, right? But the artwork is bright and bold and very it's an interesting illustrations. I don't think I have anything that remotely looks like this deck. Like I feel like this deck very much stands on its own and does its own thing and talks its own way. It's a little bit of a trickster. But there are times that like I've like had like a really good laugh at this deck. Like this deck has said something that has just, it has left me laughing. And I'm like, oh my God, like I can't even believe you said that like that. This isn't one that I don't think I would use this with a client, by no means. I don't think I would ever use this on a client, honestly. It's a little too aggressive at times. And some of its images are just, they're not necessarily, I don't know. I guess you would have to really know the client and know that they would be okay with seeing something like, you know, and not that it's bad. It's just, it's got a really crazy different energy to it. And I could see someone who's not understanding of the she or understanding of tarot and oracles being kind of like, ugh, they're kind of nasty looking figures because they are kind of, you know, like they have like solid colored eyes with no pupils. And I can see people as finding them a little freaky. But it's a very wild, very unkept energy to this deck. Very much the energy of the she. So I like to pull this one out. This one tends to be more kind of more of a summer Fae deck for me. But I will start to think about it and occasionally pull it out during this time of year. I do like to do like kind of nightly readings with it during the summer because the black borders kind of makes, I don't know, I live in a very dark shady building, right? So the dark borders kind of makes everything kind of disappear in a way, and it's like this is very a highlighted bright picture. And it just kind of like pops off the card at you. I don't know. That's how I like to read with it. And this is a deck that I kind of turn to when I'm having some serious issues and I really need to look at it from a different perspective, right? This will always give me a different perspective on something, and I really appreciate that about it. All right, those are kind of like my spring fae. Oh no, I got one more. Is the Tarot Nuage. This one is a very, very different feeling. It's very strange. The creator has created this crazy, wonderful little world. I don't know. I'm on the fence with this one. Sometimes I feel like this has like an autumn energy, and then other times I feel like it has a spring energy, and then sometimes I'm like, it's kind of a wintry feel. So I haven't really quite decided yet, but I do get drawn to work with it during this time of year. And I don't know. I like the way this reads. The funny thing about this is it kind of reads like a Marseille, where it's really quite clear and precise. But at the same time, it kind of has this like I don't want to say a jokester because it's not necessarily a jokester, but it kind of has like a little bit of like a light humor to it. And I mean very, very light. But I find it very direct, and I like the way that it reads. It's strange, like 100% off the wall weird. I like how the night cards are like zoomed up like this. I think that that's really neat. Kind of has like a labyrinth vibe to it in a way. With all these little weird creatures. I don't know. I like it. When I first got it, I was like, oh, I don't know about this. And I really honestly considered returning it. I did. I considered returning it and just being like, yeah, no, this isn't for me. Because I'm starting to try to get to be really, really picky about what I bring into my collection at this point. I'm trying to move stuff on. I'm trying to clear some stuff out. And I really want to be careful about what I'm bringing in and why I'm bringing it in. And if it has, like, if there's a deck in my collection that's similar, that can be maybe used instead. So I'm really, really fine-tooth combing my collection right now. And I feel like this one's so unique. And it has a spring color palette. It's very like muted. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. I enjoy the way it reads. Honestly, I do. So, yeah. Tarot Nuage. And there is, like, look at all the little fairies in the cups and stuff hanging out. The penguins throw me right the heck off, but it explains in the story, like in the book, why there's penguins. But it does still kind of throw me off. It is a very strange deck. But in good ways. They all look like it's just funny. There's like little gargoyles, there's little like gnomes, there's mushrooms, there's little, all kinds of different fae like little figures. And it's really, as the High Priestess. It's a really cool deck, honestly. And it's like that really nice card stock. It's US Games, right? So it's got that really nice card stock that's easy to work with and enjoyable to shuffle. But yeah, so Terre Nuage. I'm going to put it into like my spring working selection. Kind of has that overcasty look still, like how the Ramaz Estrange does. I feel like it kind of has that overcast, rainy, you know, April showers before May's flowers kind of feel, right? Okay, let's look at some botanicals. Okay, I feel like one of my favorite botanicals, hands down, is the Hedge Witch. I I have a hard time with botanicals, and it's funny because a lot of the people that I've heard or that I know personally that are big into like gardening or love gardens and stuff like that, they have a hard time with botanical decks, and I will agree with that 100%. I think that everybody always kind of drops the ball on them in a way. Without sounding like I'm not trying to sound rude or nothing, because obviously a lot of thought and a lot of detail and a lot of things have gone into these decks. But I don't know. I have a hard time connecting with botanicals. This one, though, however, I'm thinking like this is hands down one of my most favorite botanicals. It is at this moment in time in my collection like my go-to. If I feel like I want to connect into the botanical world and spend some time with the flowers, this is 100% the way that I go. I love the minimal color palette. And just like the little pops of green and little pops of like some of them, like this one just has a little bit of purple and pink. It's so beautiful. I do like the keywords. I think the keywords are really quite good and very, very interesting. And I like that there's like ferns in it and stuff. When I first got this deck, I was like, oh, I thought the card stock wasn't going to hold up, but it's proven me wrong. It's done pretty good. I haven't had any issues with it. It's been pretty legit. And it's had no problems keeping up. Yeah, I don't know. I think they're so beautiful. Ritual. This is like one of my favorite. The Elder. Oh, so beautiful. And Nourish. I have this plant all over my property. The plantain. Yeah, it's just such a great one. Ghost Pipe. Such an interesting plant. Ghost pipes are so crazy cool. I have not gotten to see one in person, and I would really, really like to see one someday. Dogwood. I've got tons of dogwoods on my property. Native and a couple fancy ones. Blackberry. I've got some beautiful blackberry, native blackberry growing on my property as well too. I do a lot of natural plants here. I do have like obviously my more fancy plants and more of like your landscaping plants, right? But we try really hard to bring in as many native plants as possible, which totally does not suit where I live at. Where I live at is a farming community where they spray Roundup on everything and everything is grass that you cut down. They do not like nature. They do not like leaves and trees and butterflies. They don't like any of that. So when we moved in, we had a big problem with some of the people around us thinking our yard was full of weeds and was unkept and nasty, when like it's really all just like native plants and flowers that we've spent a lot of money on planting and gardening and taking care of. And I mean, and it's a good mix of like your typical landscaping plants as well too, right? So I don't know. We've always been avid gardeners, and the last house we were on, actually we were part of a garden tour and almost won, and it was beautiful. So I don't know, we've been gardening. I've been gardening for many years. This is my fifth mature, like my fifth like landscaping garden that I've been trying to cultivate and take care of. And if you've watched my videos, you know that when we moved here, there was nothing except burnt, dead Roundup grass, and the mycelium layer is destroyed here. So it's been a lot of work. This deck, though, I really love it. And it gives me that like going out into the garden feeling. And I do really like this one a lot. This is one of my favorite botanicals. Another botanical based deck that it's one of those things too. Some people go to it in the fall, some people go to it in the spring. I tend to work with the Antique Anatomy Tarot. I'll work with it the spring, the summer, and the fall, honestly. I haven't worked with this one in a really long time. It's been a while. It's been a bit. Sometimes I find the amount of flowers and just like the scenes on the cards, I find them to be sometimes a little overwhelming to me. I'm not sure why, but like there's just like, look at this one. There's just a lot going on in a way, and sometimes I feel overwhelmed by it, but I do love the flowers and the pops of color, and like look how beautiful this is. Like the macabre in it is done so right. And I love this one. This is honestly like a spring summer. I really do like working with it in the spring and the summer. Like this one's so pretty. It's like the bouquet around it. And this one too. With like the clover and the yarrow. And like look at the Tower card. Fantastic. Yeah, I don't know. There's some bells. There's some bluebells. So this one is definitely, to me, like I said, this is a spring summer. I think it's the pop of color, right? That like bright, bright, bright pop of color. Look at these little violets. Yes. It's a good one. I think a lot of people, is this Labella? I think a lot of people enjoy this deck very much. And I think it speaks to different people, different times of the year, right? But me, this is definitely a spring, summer feel. Yeah, like look at the Hermit. It's such a fantastic card. It's a great one. And I don't have anything else from Claire. And that's a shame because she's Canadian, right? So like, I mean, I should, but I don't. I don't have anything else. I don't have anything else from her. Which is a shame. Because like I said, her work is amazing. I'll have to fix it one day. Look at these toad lilies. Yeah, like the Hangman. Wonderful. Yeah, this is definitely one. But like I said, for some reason, this run really, sometimes I can feel very overwhelmed by the amount of stuff going on in the cards. So I have to kind of be in the mood for it, which is really weird. You wouldn't think that I feel that way, but sometimes I do. Sometimes it gives me a little bit of overwhelm. But yeah. All right, let's take a look at the next one. I have a lot of herbal decks, actually, to tell you the truth. I'm going to show 3 more, but like there's a lot. I have a lot more. But these are kind of the ones that are speaking to me right now. I don't know if you would consider this a botanical deck, but the Mushroom Hunters Arcanum, I absolutely love. And I use it, I like it during the spring and I like it during the summer. It's beautiful. Like look at the gilding is this light pale gold. It's so pretty and it's nice gilding, and the back of the cards are so beautiful. So simple. This is a very well made, high quality deck. The cardstock, the matte finish, just a phenomenal deck. And I love how they're like, it's so clear what card this is, right? Like he uses the RW backgrounds and stuff, and it's phenomenal. Like it's easy to know what it is. And yeah, I love working with this one. It is such a cute deck. And it reads really nice too. I was unsure on how it was going to read, and I was like, I don't know how it's going to read. But it reads really good. It reads like an RW, honestly. And I love like when you get into the book, like he talks a little bit about the mushrooms and why he chose them to be where they are in the deck. And it's great. I really do. I enjoy this deck a lot. I wasn't expecting to like it the way that I did. Like, I love mushrooms. Huge mushroom person. On many levels. And, like, it was funny because when I got this, I was like, oh, I don't even know. Like, I'm not sure how I'm going to like it. And I absolutely loved it. It is, like, one of my favorite mushroom decks. And I don't have tons of mushroom decks. I have, like, Midnight Magic. And then I have this one. And I don't think I have any other ones. I don't think so. But like the Midnight Magic kind of irritates me. I wish the images were printed clearer, and I wish the cardstock was better. And like the cardstock, I wouldn't even care. Like the cardstock's crappy, but I wouldn't even care if the pictures were like printed clearer. There's just something about it, like they dropped the ball on it a little bit, and it's unfortunate because it had the potential to be quite an astounding deck. But then again, that's just my opinion, right? That's just my thoughts on it. I love this one though. It's honestly like I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it for about 3 days now. And I'm like, oh, I gotta get my mushroom deck out. I need to start working with it. But I'm studying. I'm still deep in study with the Usi decks. So, and I don't want to disrupt that. Oh, look how beautiful this is. Just gorgeous. Yeah. Just a great one. I love it. And I'm counting it as a botanical. It's mushrooms. Why not? They are technically fungi, but it doesn't matter. I'm putting it into my botanical video. My flora, my fairies and flora. I'm gonna put mushrooms in there. Like what good fairy deck doesn't have mushrooms, right? So like it's kind of necessary. All right, and this one here is my botanical deck by Jessica Bott, who is Canadian as well. I've got all the extra little books in here because she has like different she's created all of these extra little things that you can buy now. All right, this deck, the only thing I'm going to say is I wish the Oracle, it was easier to decipher the difference between the oracles and the tarot. So this is both. So these are the Oracle. You've got flowers, spices, crops. Oh, maybe wait a second. See, and this is where I always get lost. Maybe this might be the tarot. Let me look at this one. Okay, this is the Oracle. This is the tarot. All right. For the air, and like the backs are identical. So it's really hard to kind of decipher. All right, so you got your poisons, your carnivores, your herbs, your teas, your mushrooms, your sweets. For some reason, those are all upside down. House plants. They're so beautiful. Such stunning colors and poppy art. I like it. Medicines, house plants. Oh, look at spider plant. Herbs. I think I already said that. Mushrooms. Her carnivores are really cool too, the carnivore set. But I have like all of her little extension packets. I have to, actually that's not true. I have to get her most recent ones. But nice cardstock, nice size. Really cool art. So this is the oracle that goes along with it. The only problem is, like I said, when I use them with the tarot, I get really confused on if I'm looking at an oracle card or if I'm looking at a tarot card. And I think she could have just, it's as easy as like, she has the word written 3 here. Maybe on the oracle cards, she should have did like the number sign, like number 8. So then you would have known that the worded are the tarot and the 8 are the numbers are the oracles. Just because, I mean, like, look at how identical they are. Borders are the same, like everything's the same, so it can get really confusing. But yeah, so it's divided into flowers, cacti, crops, and spices. If I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've looked at it. Let's look at it fast. Yeah, these are all the expansion pack book looks that she's given. I have to remember. Okay, so the major arcana are trees, and the minor arcanas are flowers, crops, spices, and cacti. Yep. The oracles is poison herbs, medicines, mushrooms, carnivores, tea, and then all of her extended ones, which is weeds, sweets, house plants, and she's come out with a few more that I have to still get. Just haven't gotten there yet. And like the way she's picked, like she's done thought, like there's been a thought behind it. So the I can get back to that page where we were at. So flowers are the cups, crops are the pentacles, spices are the wands, and cacti are the swords. Right? So I mean it makes sense. It totally 100% makes sense. And then your trees are all your majors. So I mean using the oracle, it is very straightforward and easy to do. I love all of like her little cactus images. Crops, flowers, and like they're so pretty. So bright and vibrant. So this one I feel like I work with all year. But sometimes it's kind of more of a summer one for me. But if I start using it and playing with it, I like want to go out and start like planting my vegetables and like getting ready for all that stuff, right? But yeah, it's a really interesting deck. Really, really crazy. Here's the seed pod, the unknown card, which is awesome. I love it. Got hazelnut. Who is the high priestess? Oh, sorry, not hazelnut. Witch hazel, which is the high priestess. We've got the birch tree as the empress. Yeah, such a cool deck. I love how she uses the bright colors in it. Really neat. Super nifty. The ginger. Such a wand plant, eh? That fire, that spice. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Herb Crafter's Tarot in a way. Juniper is the 10 of spices. Eucalyptus, look how cool that is. Yeah, it's a really neat deck. The Saffron's one of my favorite cards. I think it's so beautiful. If I can get it to focus in. Yeah, gorgeous. It's a different one. It's interesting. I do really like it. I do enjoy it very much. I do bring it out for spring, summer. I do like it. It's good. It's like getting so full though. Like I have to buy a couple more of her expansion packets. Her expansion packets, and I don't, like, at this point it's already not closing. And she does give you like little boxes to go with it, but I wanted to put them all in this box, which is not going to happen. So I'm going to have to start putting things out into the other boxes, which is okay. I'll do it if I have to. All right. And then last but not least is the Herb Crafters. Okay, so I had a little bit of a journey with this deck. It was on one of my previous videos. You guys probably already saw that. This deck, I have no idea how to... I don't know how I want to work with it. But I feel like it's not... I don't know. Like I said, I haven't worked with it. I haven't worked with it at all. I've been actually waiting for spring, summer to dive into this. And I'm just not sure how I want to work with it and the way it fits into my practice. I'm not sure, like, if I gave it a shuffle, if it would give me like a reading, like a tarot reading. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Oh, look at the moonflowers. Oh, I used to have tons of these at the one house that we lived at. And I thought I grabbed seeds and I didn't. And now I don't have them. And I haven't for quite a few years. And it breaks my heart. Oh, look at chicory. I just don't know how to work with it. I don't know if I can use it like an everyday normal tarot, which I feel like it doesn't, like, it doesn't feel that way. We have a great big huge, we have a couple giant mullein growing in our yard. Oh, look, a golden seal, which looks so much like May apples, right? But it's not, because the golden seal, the flower, is above the plant, and with May apples, the flowers grow beneath the leaves. I have to spend time with it. I know I do. I gotta just sit down and start reading with it and see if this is like what I want to do. There's someone calling my phone. I'm sorry, you can probably hear it vibrating. But yeah, so 100% have to figure out. I'm going to show you guys all the lavender. I have to figure out how this works in. It's so beautiful though. Makes you feel like just going outside and putting your hands into the garden. But to me, it has a very summer feel. It has a summer feel to it. But I'm going to leave it out after this video, and I'm going to do a couple readings with it, and I'm just going to see how it reads. This was the card that I lost, or wasn't in the deck when I bought it. And US Games was so wonderful that they sent it to me for free, and I highly appreciate it. It made my deck complete. Otherwise, I felt like it was like useless. It's hard when you lose a card. Like, I feel like it's like it doesn't work. It doesn't feel right at that time, right? But yeah, so, and it's that lovely US Game cardstock again as usual. I love their cardstock. I think their cardstock's great. Yeah, see, I got it as like as an Amazon warehouse deal. And they said that it had everything, that everything was fine, that its contents was all there, blah, blah, blah. And then it shows up and like that one card was missing. And I knew the minute I didn't even count it, took it out and I was like, there's a card missing. I just knew it. So yeah, I have to maybe spend a little bit of time with this. It's very elemental. Oh, my jumpers. Look at that. Feels nice. I like it. It feels really nice as a shuffle. Okay, let's ask what kind of day I'm going to have. Beginning of the day, midday, end of the day. Oh, we had a couple that want to jump out right there. Ooh. Maybe I was mistaken. I don't know. I have to spend time with it, like I said. Very much 2 of air, the world, and 9 of fire. So we have that swords energy, we have that wand energy, and then the major in the middle. And I'm going to say that I definitely agree with the message that it's saying, because I know what's going on up to this point. This I don't know yet, but this is definitely what happened this morning, and this is definitely coincides with what's going on right now. Yep, I agree. Oh, maybe I can read like an everyday tarot and go into like the everyday mundane. All right. Well, now I'm going to have to leave it out and work with it because now I'm very much drawn into it. Okay, so these are the Fae-based and Flora botanical-based spring feeling decks in my collection. Let me know what you think. What do you guys have? What are you being called to work with right now? What energies are coming forward for you? Leave it in the comments, and I would love to see what you guys are working with right now and what's being called to you. So thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, all that lovely stuff. My memberships are now up and available. Go check those out. See if any of them are speaking to you. And I'll see you guys on the next video.